This episode of Reasonably Spontaneous Conversation is brought to you in part by Clay Boykin Life and Business Coaching, because we all get stuck at times. For more information, visit clayboykin.com. By Janelli Bean, for fun and engaging children's books with cute and colorful characters. For more information, visit janellibean.com. And by Wise Owl Organizing, simply set up for you. Organizing consulting and clarity coaching, virtual or in person. For more information, visit wiseowlorganizing.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Reasonably Spontaneous Conversation with Corrie Lynn Green. Hello, Corrie.
Hello, Dennis. How are you?
Well, I was not able to sleep well last night, so I got up early and I went ahead and I was doing some work, and I clicked on the Facebook Messenger, and you said, before the interview tonight, the conversation, you may want to listen to this, my latest piece, arrangement. Okay, everybody out there in whatever land, cyber land, stop the video where you are right now. Okay, stop. Just stop it right now. Put a pause. There is a link to arrangement. Go listen to it. I'm not going to take time playing it during the show, but you need to do this. Seriously, just go and do it. Listen to it once, twice, 5 times. I've listened to it so many times that it just keeps burrowing into me like an earwig. I have so many questions. Okay, so go. Bye. See you soon. It has so many layers. Get me into the conversation with us.
Okay. I'm just begging my listeners to listen to this song. If they listen to nothing else that I've made, I'm just begging them to listen to the whole song. We're such a clickbait, universe that average listening is about 1 minute, 30 seconds. And I just keep trying to, and I never do this, but I just keep saying, please don't quit. Please don't quit, because you're going to miss what happens. And it feels very important to me in this song, because I took some risks, as did the session musicians that were playing, as did the producer, in terms of just trusting me that we could make a bunch of tempo changes and we could build a story based on emotion, based on music.
And it's such a story song. It is a beautifully told story song. And I love in the video. All right, let me tell you, this is for me from the outside, right? From the outside, your choice of using her taking a selfie video with a bus, like she's like on mass transit or whatever, and she's just laying it out on the line. I'm just telling you how it is. I've had my I just got to lay it all out. And the way you did it with your hair, and she was just like, I mean, this woman was so alive to me as she went through this process as the character that you were playing there.
Yeah, I usually have people helping me develop a video, or people helping me to make something really clear and really literate. But I really felt like it needed to be just so raw. I really wanted people to just hear it coming from a person who was experiencing those feelings. And so I just made that choice, and it was a choice I was hoping my producer would agree with. And I sent it to him and said, "Can we use this?" And of course, he went for it because he's a genius. But and looking at it, I was still a little worried because it's a little off and it's a little strange. But I like all of that because the story is messy and it's complicated and it's isolating, and it's it's you and me. That story is a conversation. So yeah, I'm really glad you like that too.
What the beat that it drives all the way through, that goes through this and then go. I mean, and then it changes and it speeds up as it goes. So being a non-musician, you're going to have to help me with this on in developing that, and how you talked to your session musicians and to your producer to be able to say, I think this can work. So take me, and there. Oh, by the way, there also people who are watching, go back and watch the making of the little short. It's going to be in there too. So both of those are so worth seeing. And here's the other good thing: you're going to be seeing them early, because this song is going somewhere. It has, well, like we say in plays, right? It has legs.
Yes. Yeah, I'm so excited about that. And I think I should backtrack to say,
Please.
I wrote this song when a friend of mine was going through a divorce, and also when I was also angry about something. Those two things came together, and it was an outlet for me, but it wasn't something that I necessarily believed in all the way. I've been sitting on this song for a little while. It's so different from what I normally do. I wasn't sure if it fit into my, folk genre journey that I'm on, but not all of my music fits. And so here was one of those songs. I had gone up to Philly to record some demos possibly for a new album. Yes, for a new album. And I was really tired during that trip, and I was a little burnt out. And I had written a bunch of old songs, and I was demoing those songs. A lot of good songs there, but I just wasn't feeling any of it. I was really unenthusiastic, which is very unusual for me around music. And even around the songs that are really wonderful, I was having a problem. But we got to the end of this sort of unenthusiastic session, and he wanted to know if I had anything else that I wanted to lay on the table. And I said, I do have something else, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to like it. And he was like, well, I'd like to hear it anyway. And I said, well, okay, but I feel a little embarrassed, and I think it's just the vulnerability of the song. I'm not even really sure why I was feeling that way, but I was rolling the dice in some ways. And I had never heard anything like that from me before. And so I said, okay, I'll play it. I was doing it on the banjo, but I did all those tempo changes, and I just sang it as passionately as possible. And, I got to the end, and when you're in a recording studio, you get to the end of a song and then there's silence because you need some time there. And so I'm in this space of feeling really vulnerable and feeling like that was a disaster. And finally, we got to a point where he would speak to me, and he just said, that was amazing. And I think that's my favorite song. And I was in total shock. I was like, really? That song? I thought you would hate it. I just thought you would hate it. And he was like, no. And his curiosity grew and grew and grew to the point where he's like, that's the next song we need to record. And I think he started hearing what could be possible right away. The tempo changes were really my baby. I mean, that's how I did the song, because I just get angrier and angrier and more upset in the song. And then like some resolve too, I'm here at this place. And so that was a little bit more challenging, because when we decided to bring session musicians in, session musicians like to have their beats per minute, and they like to have their tempo, and there's a structure to music. And this was one of those things, and I keep learning this lesson over and over again. I have not followed the rules yet. When I go to follow the rules, I lose something. When I believe in the creation of something, I gain something. And I have these amazing people surrounding me right now that say, okay, we'll give it a try. You have to be really skilled to give that a try. And I'm not the one. They're holding it together. The cello player, Peter Oswald, is just willing to take those risks. And then the other person in the room with me was the best drummer I've ever known in my life, John O'Reilly Jr. He's a master at not going too far, about getting it just right, about like leading into something. And he's done this on another song of mine that just wouldn't be what it was, which is In a Small Town. Without that beat, it'd just be a little boring. So they were willing to take those risks and to sort of trust the producer and to trust my creative spirit. And then later, when we were listening to it, it was almost there and I was starting to like it. We'd go in and listen, and all of a sudden that last part would happen with the drum, boom, boom, boom. And all of us in the recording studio would go, because it was just, even for us as players, it was like you just weren't ever expecting it to come. There it was, and we would be blown away ourselves, like, wow. But my producer knew there was something still. He wanted some punch that we didn't have. He wanted something to drive that. Then he ended up getting in touch with this amazing violin player, Michael Salzberg. And Michael is both a classically trained violinist and has played in bluegrass. So he gets how to be creative. He basically came in and started putting all those little fills in, dun, 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 right? And it just, and then there we were. So I'm in love with it.
Oh, and this is so, Melissa called when she was listening to it. She goes, this is interesting. She says, it's like it's Appalachian rap.
Yes.
It has that. It has that very much of a
Yeah.
city and a raw feel, yet it still has the connection to your roots that goes.
Well,
It's
and
stunning.
About my roots both ways, right? Because my roots are really complicated, and we've gotten into this a little bit, but there's me growing up in rural Appalachia under the Shenandoah Mountains with my stepfather, who was a bluegrass musician, and I was surrounded by that music. But before that, living in deep poverty, before we met him, we were living in our local city. My brother and I were growing up listening to, really early rap, Beastie Boys and Ice-T, and we had NWA, and that was a story of our lives. And then of course I had my mom's old records, which were, like Stevie Ray Vaughan. And so there's not a music genre that I don't like. If it's good music, I like it. But I grew up with that beat. And I think I want to be really careful, to stay really true to what my root is. But my root is complicated, and my root around music is both ways. It's both things, and it's what I'm influenced by. It's what I experienced. It's what I then moved into. And so for me, this song, gosh, it feels like it hits all of those really specific points in my life where music was changing me and I was understanding how to feel within it.
I love you phrasing it as complicated, because that is what I feel about it. It's because it's so rich, and every time I re-listen to it, and when I see her phrasing, the specific of the way she drops each word, it just, I mean, did you get into a character to do that? I mean, did you have that as a, because I always feel that singing is an expression. It's the same as acting, and the reason why you see so many actors, so many singers are wonderful actors. Sinatra, any of them, I'm in Streisand. And so there is something, and this was a character. She was so alive to me.
Yeah, I think I am learning how to be both, in particular on stage, right? There is a certain bring this person who's really powerful with you so that you can connect and reach people. But I'll tell you, who in a long relationship, who has experienced the complications of a difficult relationship hasn't actually felt this. I'm really lucky to have, again, this producer. I just can't, D.W. Fearn, Douglas Fearn, I can't speak highly enough about him. I'll never be able to, because, he has a way of I'm in the studio and I have these ideas, but he has a way of saying, now, that first chorus, like, you're a storyteller and you're just telling it soft and you just tell that story. And yeah, I had those speed changes, but like that second speed change is like, I'm just starting to get mad. I'm just starting to be frustrated. And that third one, I'm just resolved. Like, this is a problem, and like, this is what it is. And I'm being so honest. And as a developing human and as a developing female who's been in a long marriage, I could feel all of those things too, right? Where it's just like, I'm growing up right? And I feel, and this is my first time being honest with you. And in the beginning of that song, it was like the way I was when I was 20, you know, like I'm sad and I want you to hear me. But then it's like, dude, like, like really, you know, I'm putting all this effort in here. And then it's just the strike, you know. And I think I believe we've all been there, or we've all witnessed it. And I think I'm just getting brave enough to be the person at the end.
So here you have a bouncing baby record, and you know it's special, and you know it's the world. Part of what you're doing, as you said, listen to it to the end, please, people, and please. How do you look at it with your publicity people? How do you look at it in, okay, this is not the Corrie Lynn Green that everybody just continues to love to hear. We're going off in a different direction. I remember I was crushed when the Beatles got away, when they put out Sergeant Pepper and all. I went nuts because I don't
Yeah.
understand the music. What the hell happened to them? That was, and then I had to grow up. So how
Yeah.
do you at this time, how do you take this baby and how are you marketing it? How are you talking to the music people? How are you talking? What's the process so we can understand it?
So I think, you know, I was swept away with the first album, which were some of the first ways in which I came to know how to be a person who was making a record. And I'll be really grateful for that, because that's really the foundation of like how I began and grew in confidence. But if you're playing as much as I am at this point and you're out in the world, you're learning. You're learning who you are, you're learning who you aren't. I've been challenged, and you know, maybe it all looks glamorous, but there's so much hard work in there, and there's fear, and like, am I going to be able to do this next thing and this next thing? And you walk through those doors, so you're getting stronger, and you're getting to know yourself, and you're growing the way you do in every other aspect of your life. You're learning. So my writing right now is not the same, but it's so much more mature, and it's so much more like hitting every mark for me. We agree as a team that because we're not 25, we don't need a thing, right? What we all know how to do is make music, and all we really want to do is make amazing music. This is a really hard industry. Some people who deserve it never get heard. And I've had the opportunity to at least put it out there. I've had this amazing fan base. And, you know, I've had that new song out for 2 days and 500 people have listened to it. And I hope that just keeps growing, because I think the message is there and the meaning is there. And I know how I want to feel when I listen to music. And I think this song can do that. I think my next song can do that. And we're going to do something completely different there, something totally wild. We're going to bring in a 300-year-old harpsichord and one of the best harpsichord players in the world to play on this next song. So we have decided that what we should do, which is to stay in a folk genre and keep pushing toward, we're going to stop doing the should do. I'm old enough to know how I want to write, and I'm supported enough to be able to take the risk. And so I am going to take the risk, and I'm going to create music, and I hope that someone will connect to it. And that's all I want. And if it doesn't happen, well, there's a million others like me that it didn't happen for. But the Beatles and Bob Dylan are a great example, because what if they had stayed where they were? I don't think if you're really a creator that you can, because it's not about the product. So sure, the fans and my family and my friends get to listen to this music, and I get to be really over enthusiastic about it, as I am. But on the other hand, what is it to mean to be a creator? I'm more connected to that experience than anyone else. I get to feel it for myself. I get the satisfaction of knowing that I grew, and that I was challenged, and that I grew, and that I created something that, I tell you, I'm listening to that song as much as you are. I can't get enough of it. I've never felt quite that way, where I was like, I want to hear that again. I just want to hear that again. So it's speaking to me. I pray that it speaks to the audience, but even if it doesn't, I created it. I get to enjoy it now, you know, and the next song is really powerful. And the next song after that is really powerful. And then I've got some writing to do, but I just want to trust that all of this experience you've given me, that the network has given me, that my producer has given me, it's about my growth. And I just want to keep growing and I want to keep creating. And at some point in the middle of this, I realized, oh, I'm luckier than a lot of people. I actually get to just keep going up there and making music. What a gift. Like I get to just keep going up there and trying to do whatever I want. It's unlimited. So I will not complain and I won't conform either. You know, I'm going to do it and I'm going to write what comes through. And that's where I'm at with it.
Oh, I love that phrase. I won't complain and I won't conform.
Right.
Those two together are powerful.
Yeah. It's a powerful feeling. It's a powerful feeling to be like, look, you're being given this gift. So don't squander it. Go make as much music for as long as possible and see what comes out of that. And if one amazing comes out of that, fine. If 10 amazing things come out of that, wow. I mean, I recognize the privilege of this moment. And I just decided not to let it go. I did that on a really big stage on Friday night, and it was really scary for me. And I got really scared on that stage. It was bigger than any stage I've been on. It was more important to me. It was being live recorded by a radio station. Um, and I was, you know, encouraged to play it safe, you know, and I did. I mean, I have some nerve problems on stage, and so it's a good idea to know exactly what I'm doing. But I'd worked my butt off on this, you know, and I went there and I sang a song and I was safe. I sang the song I know forwards and backwards from my album Blow Away, and I can play that in any kind of condition, and I did. And then the second song was brand new and hasn't even been recorded. And I wanted to play it in a different style than I normally play it. And I wanted to write it in a claw hammer style because I had written it about the people where I lived who were moved off the Shenandoah National Park to make the Shenandoah National Park. And it's a really deep story. But the person I really wrote it for and to plays clawhammer banjo. And I thought, I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to honor it. And, you know, it was a huge risk. And I'm not saying it was perfect. It was not perfect. But I was able to say, this is a really important story that's regional. This is our story. And I've never played this. I've played this banjo 3 times. This is a new banjo, and this is a new style, and this is a new song. You know, and my nerves can get the better of me and I can lose it all. But I played that song unpolished, mistakes and all. And I told my story. And there again, am I going to roll the dice and live, or am I going to play it safe? And I think even with the radio there and even with the audience there, I'm going to sing to that audience, not that radio, you know, and I'm going to be true to what's gotten me here so far, which is to just take the risk. It's just music. It's just music. You might get it wrong, but man, does it feel good to put it out there, even when it's not totally ready.
You said something I'd never heard, but it so resonated with me. You in the making of, you you finished a note and you went and you took the headset off. You went, that's in the pocket. What does that mean? What? I mean, I know it. I understand it. I understand when it just goes swish, when it just is perfect. But help me understand it from what was that about?
Okay, so yeah, it's really funny because I've watched that amazing video, and so I'm hearing all kinds of stuff, you know, and so there's the process of recording with the session musicians live, where I'm singing and I'm playing at the same time, and I'm listening to them in a headset, and then there's the overdubs, which means I sit down and I play the banjo so that it's perfect. That's what I love about a studio. And then I do the vocals so that I'm concentrated on that. So you're not doing all those things in your mind at the same time. And so a lot of that was the vocal part, because if you listen to this song, you can hear what's complicated about it. It is a lot going on musically. And so now all I'm doing is I'm trying to get inside the slow parts exactly right. But when it comes to stacking it up in the parts that are more in that rap style, I have to hit it every time in the beat or it's going to be off. And so that took me a couple of tries. And so at one point, we would have these quiet moments and then he'd say, I think that's about as close to perfect as you're going to get. And I would say, that was in the pocket because I could feel it. And, also with that style of music, I tend to want to be right on the beat. Boom, boom, boom. No, there's a laid backness to that. It's the beat and you and the beat and you. And so that to be laid back while you're trying to give that power is so challenging. And so it's like be laid back, but stay in that pocket so that it's still that music. You got the beat and you got your story and the beat and your story. And so that's the most challenging music. I mean, for anyone who doesn't really understand how much talent it takes to do music like that, that is another level. It's really something special.
I was I loved watching the professionalism of the musicians. It was like, yeah, we're okay. We're here.
Yep.
We're here to do. I mean, there was just such a sense of, yeah.
Yeah, these guys come to play. They come prepared. They come knowing the song. They come with their own ideas. Some people say, well, do you orchestrate all that? No, we have this amazing producer, but they still get to have their ideas. That violin player, dun, 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 that's his idea. And Doug is there to say, yes, or, and his ear is just like no other. So he's sort of helping us, come into these creative pockets, and he knows when it's wrong or when it's right, or we know when it's wrong or when it's right. And so we get to kind of do that, but they come to play. They come to play, and then they really don't get any of the glory. They just get to come and play, and then they're on this album, and they're all really proud of this song because, like I said, a lot of people, a lot of session musicians in particular, to say, hey, this is what we're going to try to do, it would be very confusing because it's like, and now we're going to do this. What's the cue? So there aren't a lot of cues for them in this song about when to change the beat. So it had to kind of be my vocals, speeding it up, speeding it up, speeding it up, speeding it up, And of course, Peter was also holding down the cello bass line. I mean, he does there's probably 8 layers of cello in there that he does separate, to even what we were doing. So
it's such a beauty. All right, everyone, arrangement. Listen to it and then share it.
yes.
Share it with the people you care about. Share it with the people that you want to be able to connect. And let's spread this. Let's be part of this wave of spreading this out as far and wide as this baby can touch. Corrie Lynn, thank you so much for another opportunity to connect with you on the creative process. I love the idea of when I think of the word perfect, I like to analogize it to the word complete. It doesn't mean that it's without mistakes.
That's right.
It's complete the way it is. And that is what the perfect is. When you were on stage and you were nervous and you were hitting with that, it was perfect because it was complete. It was real, and it was Corrie Lynn Green.
That's right.
Thank you very much. Arrangement. Play it, listen to it, share it. Corrie Lynn, may we again talk on it as you continue to evolve in the career, that you'll talk to me more about your amazing music and life, and we'll do that.
I would love to, Dennis. Thank you so much for
That's
having
all.
me.
Just say yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And thank you everyone who listened to this. Thank you everyone who shared arrangement. And we will see everybody very soon next time.
This episode of Reasonably Spontaneous Conversations has been brought to you in part by In Search of the New Compassionate Male. For more information, go to newcompassionatemale.com.